shuttle was going to get taken down, but he pulled it within range of the photon cannons and drew the Scourges through the anti-air barrage of the Archons, and all the Scourges got taken out before the shuttle was killed. So great play by Stork, great defense. July once again trying to take the shuttle down, and I think he actually had an opportunity there, but he's pulled back now, and the Zerg players are just laughing it up. It came so close, and the shuttle once again dropping the Reavers. July's doing a good job of those Scourges just holding Stork's forces back while he re-entrenches himself and rebuilds his forces, but I feel July's is in a little bit of trouble now. He doesn't have the gas to really get those Defilers going and get the Plague going as well against Stork's forces, and Stork is fighting quite effectively with a good mix of units. Those Zealots obviously the backbone of his army. July looks like 1-2 upgrades now on his Ultralisks. He had those evolution chambers up quite early on, so obviously that's what he was going for. And looks like Stork now once again making a push up the middle of the ramp. And July, I just don't think he has enough weight of numbers and forces to be able to take this down, especially with the Reavers. What he needs to do is try and engage Stork, take the shuttle down in the middle of the battle, and then pull back before he loses too many units. That's the way he has to fight. He's going to have to fight running battles here. He's going to have to resort to guerrilla tactics. July hasn't taken the 4th gas right now at that expo, just south of the 12 o'clock position. July looks like he's once again trying to set up a pincer movement here. He's been doing that quite well throughout this game, catching Stork in the middle of the battle from both sides, forcing Stork to spread out his storms, not allowing him to concentrate them, and that is good play. Looks like July is going to try and make an attack here. As Stork's base, Stork content to play defensively because he feels he's got the upper hand now. He feels if he can continue to build up his massive army, he's going to be able to make a very effective attack against July, and he feels that it's going to be up to July to try and counter. And it looks like July's forces have been scattered up on that ridge, and Stork is going to go and try and catch them there and take them out before July. And July's going to be forced to run here. And brilliant by Stork. He's caught July's army in the middle. A couple of Reaver shots going off. July losing about 6 to 8. Almost maybe a full group of Zerglings there, but he managed to get out with his Ultralisk and the rest of his force. So great play by Stork, catching July off, cutting July on the ramp and surrounding him. July obviously positioning himself for a counter attack when Stork pushes, and obviously trying to position himself in the map. And July looks like he's got a little bit into his shell. He's being forced to defend, and I feel that he had a chance. He's obviously been waiting for those Defilers to come into play, and if he can make use of them effectively, that's going to make a huge lot of difference to this game. But really, July is in a little bit of trouble. Stork mined out in his base as well as the natural expo. Obviously Stork was relying on those 2 mineral patches for much longer than July was, because July was spread out a little bit earlier on. Now Stork dropping the Reavers, looks like he's ready to make a move up that ramp where July's forces are positioned, and July trying to just hold the higher ground here because he realizes Stork has got superiority and weight of numbers and has got the superior army. So July now is going to be forced to take on Stork. Looks like July is actually trying to counter here, try and draw Stork's forces away. July coalescing his forces in the middle of the map at the ramp on Stork's side of the map, and he managed to successfully draw back Stork's forces. Great storm by Stork, once again catching most of July. Stork's doing well. He's not getting drawn up the ramp. He's not getting drawn to fight on the higher ground against July. He's just allowing July to come to him, storm, allowing July to come to him and storm while building up his forces. Now Stork pushing up towards July's main, and July's going to be forced to defend here. That Reaver a little bit vulnerable. July with some great defense. Shuttle gets taken down by July as well as a swarm protecting his main. Meanwhile, Stork, and looks like both players are battling at multiple fronts. Stork's lost the forces that were holding July's forces at bay at July's main. Stork now using the ramp as an effective choke point to storm as a storm fight, but July's brought most of his forces in, and now he's got a swarm up as well to fight against Stork's forces. And Stork's forces are actually been cornered. Stork is relying primarily on Archons at this point in time, and it's going to be very close between these two players. It's Ultras versus Archons. Stork has got reinforcements coming. I'm not sure if they're going to arrive in time. July's going to try and get some reinforcements in play as well. July's reinforcements do arrive. Stork's reinforcements arrive as well. Running battle between both of these two players, and July's going to get a chance to catch those great storms by Stork. 3 or 4 storms all over the Ultras managed to take down a couple of the Ultras, but Stork has been forced back, and July holds his defense yet again. But one feels that July needs to be a little bit more. July needs to be on the offensive rather than on the defensive, and Stork is doing a good job of keeping July on the defensive right now. July finishing off Stork's units near his base. Stork's going to be forced to pull back, and he's lost that big Protoss ball. The key is that for a Protoss player to lose their ball, it's much worse than for a Zerg player to lose their army. So I feel that July will feel that that was a decent enough exchange from him. Once again, drawing a storm from Stork before pulling back with the Ultralisk, and he's going to, again, July's going to be forced to rebuild before he can make another attack. He needs to get another expansion going somewhere. And unfortunately for him, he doesn't have it. It looks like July is trying to set up an expansion at the 9 o'clock position in the middle of the map. That is a relatively vulnerable base, and Stork's sending a couple of DTs down to take that expansion down, and I'm not sure July has anything to really be able to hold it, to defend it. I'm not sure he can spare the forces. So Stork really using the full mix of Protoss units to great effectiveness here, and he does take that expansion down of July. So great play by Stork. He prevents July from getting that economic mushrooming, and Stork has once again built up a decent sized force on his ramp of Zealots and Archons. He's probably just waiting for some more High Templar. The key though is that he has lost those Reavers. July did a great job of combating those Reavers. Stork had built up what I felt was almost an unstoppable army, and there's been massive back and forth. Great game of StarCraft between these two players. Another Reaver out now for Stork. He's obviously going to need a shuttle, to wait for a shuttle as well before he makes his final push, and that's all really the time July has to try and do something. July really needs to try and make an attack to whittle Stork's forces down. Both players struggling economically. July's mined out in his main and natural as well. I'm not sure how he's doing in terms of minerals on his other two expansions. Now he's sent a couple of Zerglings down. He's trying to rebuild that expansion at the 9 o'clock position, and really that's going to be the focus. If July can keep that expansion alive, he'll have a chance of coming back in this game. I'm not sure how July's economy is. Obviously Protoss players in low econ late game, Protoss I think are much more effective than Zerg, simply because their units are just that much more powerful. Zergs, while Ultralists are powerful, while Zerglings are powerful, I just don't think that they've got the same kind of punch. Zealots are so cheap and they're so strong. Stork now sending a couple of Zealots in just to try and take July's hatchery down yet again, and he's seen July's hatchery. Looks like Stork is now going to make a move with his main force. Looks like he's just about ready, or is he just deciding to play defensively? Looks like Stork is actually playing defensively because he still doesn't have a shuttle to support that Reaver, and July would be wise to just wait a little bit longer, try and set up position here. He does, and maybe get a couple of Scourges out for when the shuttle does pop. He doesn't want to be drawn onto the ramp to fight that really heavily entrenched Protoss force, because he's going to take a lot of damage. And Dark Archon in play by Stork. I'm sure that's to cancel out the Defilers of July. He's just going to try and snipe the Defilers, and it's just a question of how effective July is going to be able to be with his Defilers against that Dark Archon. Great strategy by Stork. Great thinking to use the Dark Archon, realizing that his DTs weren't going to be able to go and take that hatchery down at the 9 o'clock position. Stork in a very and brilliance by Stork. July bringing the Defiler in to try and catch Stork, and Stork snipes the Defiler, catches it with the Dark Archon. Great play, and now Stork is moving out, and now July's in trouble. The Dark Archon leading like a general at the front of the line. Alexander himself, not afraid, and that Dark Archon is made of two Hero Templars that have Dark Templars that have done a lot of damage to July, and no wonder it's going to be effective. So July's going to have trouble here because his Defilers, and he's going to be forced to send a couple of forces out in front to try and get. And July gets a plague off on all of Stork's forces, Dark Archon or not. He's still going to need to cast a couple of storms as well. Stork now committing himself. He's got his ball. He's got his units the way he wants them. July immediately with the swarm against the Reavers. Storm all over July's Ultralists. July's in huge trouble there. I don't think July's going to hold. July's too many storms for July. July gets taken down. July's not going to be able to hold this. Stork has got most of his forces through, and July just doesn't have enough. The swarms are not in position. July's bringing in reinforcements of Zerglings from around the back, but they're coming too late. His National Expo is dead already. Not that there was any economy left in it. He didn't have Scourges take that shuttle down, so Stork has been able to maximize his Reavers, and those Reavers are probably going to make the difference in the end. And Stork just having enough weight of numbers in his army that it looks like this is going to be GG. July just doesn't have enough to fight Stork down, and he hasn't killed enough units to be able to whittle Stork's forces down little by little. Stork is just going to be able to keep his ball alive and reinforce with more Zealots. July coming in with small numbers, just not enough to really break that ball down, and Stork now, having taken down July's National Expo, was probably going to move out, and also taking down July's main army, is going to go and take down July's last source of income, and that's going to be GG right there. And that Archon made that difference because it killed that one Defiler when it was going to get that early swarmed out, early plague off, and GG says July. Stork closing the victory. Well played, Stork. July goes down. It is now 2-1 Zerg versus Protoss, and well played, Stork. He really fought well in that matchup. I feel July missed a trick. He had the advantage early on. He could have cemented his lead economically and expanded a little bit more. He was a little bit too aggressive, and I think that one decision probably ended up costing him the game in the long run, guys. This is Klazart. Thanks for listening.